build hours against the Japanese car industry. Yeah, it can encourage you, the consumer, to pay twice as much for a car. So the success might actually be related to households and firms as much as good marketing. So how does it change things for us? If you ask for an example, you can use the example of motoring in the essays. You're not compelled to think of your own. But if you do, you'll actually find it much more rewarding. So you're looking at how does the sector matrix enlarge the field of the visible? Now, you can have an emphasis on demand, but you should have an emphasis on demand substitution. There's also supply. Because if you think that it's just about how many companies are supplying the product, then you're only looking at one side of the spectrum. The new and the used cars affect each other. New and used cars affect each other. There's very few industries where used cars, or the used product, is actually a viable kind of business. I mean, it's largely in industrialised countries, you're not looking at washing machines. They're normally changed when they break down, or you move house. Washing machines, dishwashers. I mean, there's no huge industry there. But in cars there is. Actually, in railways, there's a huge second-hand industry. In trucks, there's a huge industry. But that's not directly for the consumer. Wherever there is a second-hand business, you will find. Where do the old engines go? Where do the old carriages go? It's a huge industry. But that's not directly to the consumer. That's business to business. Another thing, I'll come to it later, business to business transactions are 4 times the size of transactions to the consumer. Yet you will not encounter one module in your whole course that will actually look at that. Except that one will be mine. In terms of kind of non-manufacturing activity, you're looking at cars. They consume complementary goods and services. That's what they're doing. Now, if we go back to the matrix, why isn't Ford selling you the fuel? One of the reasons why it's not selling you the fuel is it's not the petrol stations that define success. It's whether you have ownership of the oil fields. The money is made all upstream. In petrol retailing, you make less than 1 pence per transaction. 1 pence. That's huge volume. In terms of redefining competition, this is not a competition between manufacturing systems. I'm still kind of picking up kind of essays in other subjects that I mark. It's always about competition between kind of different systems. Well, it isn't. Because, as we've seen from the matrix, even Toyota's in finance. If we looked at Sony, I don't know if we had a Sony case last term, but Sony made 25% of its profits out of finance. But manufacturing typically is unrewarding. The margins are thin, less than 5% return on sales. It seems kind of absurd for you produce a £30,000 car and you can't generate a 5% return. Manufacturing is unrewarding. There is certainly a case of oversupply. Non-manufacturing, selling you the bundle of goods and services, is hugely profitable. But remember, just because there's expenditure doesn't necessarily mean that the company can get involved in that. Ford are not involved in fuel, but they try to be involved in everything else. In terms of Ford, it makes money out of finance. In Europe, it's not actually clear whether finance actually makes any money. Because what appears to be happening is that finance is used to sell cars. so the margins are thin, but they sell you cheap money to buy it. And that makes sense up to a point, because what's actually happening is that companies like Peugeot will soon be devoured because they don't have a strong finance business. In terms of kind of business analysis, what the sector matrix is picking up is, if you were to trace the expenditure related to any complex product, there's a huge industry that actually starts once the product is sold. One of Sony's largest problems has been its inability to capture the expenditure by the consumer for its products. What it also does is, the wages in the tertiarization of services is that they're declining. The wages in manufacturing are now twice the level as they are in services. And in terms of kind of rebalancing, you're looking at a deterioration of the employment composition. Services are typically insecure and poorly paid. It's the only growth sector that's going on. In terms of structural, you ask yourself, why? You assume that second-hand car dealers actually make exceptional profits. Well, actually they don't. They make less than 5% return on sales on even these super sites. Typically they make £500 a car. And the reason why that is because competition is excessive. Why can't it all be corporatized? And you say, well, look, the dealer could actually make their money out of servicing. Well, not quite. Because after 3 years, perhaps after 4 years, that car falls out of the corporate world and is then serviced by the backstreet mechanic, the non-corporate business. This is kind of really a problem for our corporate businesses, because they're going to find expansion really difficult, because those products fall out of the corporate economy. The corporate economy over the last 30 years has actually grown no more than 50% of the British economy. Same in America. Where are they going to find the growth from? But in terms of kind of conflict and power, I want to get back to power. And I'll end that in the kind of conclusion. And this is kind of initial thoughts, because this is work in progress. This is happening while we're speaking. You will find, increasingly, companies being acquired. Those of you who've noticed Heinz has just been taken over by a listed company that's priced by private equity. The returns are no longer high enough. Private equity will actually chop the company up to ensure that the returns are increased. So the value chain works for simple products, but the margins are really thin overall. The sector matrix is useful for complex activity, and the sector matrix increases the field of the visible. What it doesn't do is give you a nice little story in a box that you can pick any industry and you can drop it into. And that's why the essay asks you for an example. I'll stop there. I'll see you.